Hi everyone, welcome to our presentation titled Plastic Waste Management in SWANA State as part of the Solid Waste Student Design Competition. We are Team Sustainable Seminole Inc. from Florida State University. We're a team of four. Mujtaba has an expertise in fate and transport of PFAS in landfills. Dennis, myself, I have expertise in diffusion of contaminants through landfill liners. Ben Hur has expertise in resource recovery and life cycle assessments. Mariam has expertise in big data analytics and machine learning. Our multidisciplinary background enabled us to make a diverse team to tackle the problems in SWANA State. We are from FAMU-FSU College of Engineering, the only joint college in the United States. Let me give you a little bit of a background. Plastic is the most used commodity of our time, and its use is continuously growing year to year. The challenge is that most of the plastics are fossil-based and they do not biodegrade, and that makes plastic pollution one of the biggest environmental concerns of our time because most of the plastics we use is landfilled and ends up in the environment. As we go into our case study, which is SWANA State, SWANA has a land area of about 52,900 square miles, and as you see in the figure, we made a fictitious map of SWANA to help us understand the location of different aspects of SWANA to help us solve the problem well. In addition to this, we analyzed the data on waste in SWANA, and we found that 19% of the total waste generated from SWANA is plastic. This plastic is mostly composed of plastic films, which make about 40% of that waste. Interestingly, most of the waste is also generated from the commercial and institutional parts of SWANA, and this waste is also going to continuously increase. Currently, we see that most of SWANA's waste is sent to the landfills, and the other part of that is sent to the waste to energy facilities. In this figure, we use the data presented in the case study to understand which city contributes which part of its waste to the different facilities. An example is we see Bumpers waste. A majority of that will go to the waste to energy facility, while the rest will go to the landfill. Now, the challenges that SWANA's waste management is currently facing can be grouped into two: those that are faced by the residents and those that are generally faced by all. The residents are concerned about the pollution by the tourists. They're also concerned about the pollution from the waste to energy facility causing air pollution and the increasing cost of recycling. The extended producer responsibility mandates are increasing the cost of recyclables. Recycling contamination is high, and in addition to this, the landfill lifespan is approaching its limits. These concerns are what we look to address. In order to address these concerns, we use the Sustainable Development Goals and the EPA national standards as a reference to develop smart measurable goals. First is to increase the statewide recycling rate, decrease the contamination rate, increase the landfill lifespan, increase the extended producer responsibility, and also ensure increase in community awareness about plastic management.
As mentioned, we have some main problems about plastic waste management in SWANA. For solving these problems, we need to have a comprehensive approach. We plan to combine technological, social, and governance approach for solving the current problems. I start with technological approach, and we have three objectives in this category. Objective one is increasing recycling rate in rural area. To achieve this, we need to set up 2 drop-off centers and distribute 10,000 new recycling bins to residents. Based on some calculation that we did in the report, we expect the recycling participation rate increase from 24% to 70% in 2030. The objective number 2 is establishing a new recycling plant. We have a mechanical recycling plant for plastics that they are very common. They have some main advantage. They are cost effective, they are environmentally friendly, they are easy to operation, but at the same time they have some negative features. They are less effective for some type of plastic. They need pre-treatment and they are very sensitive to contamination. Also, chemical recycling, particularly pyrolysis, are becoming more and more popular. They have some uh, positive features. They are effective for a wide range of plastic. They generate fuel and they generate high quality polymers. At the same time, they have some negative properties. They are less environmentally friendly than mechanical recycling. They are relatively complicated and they are energy extensive. For the state of SWANA, we suggest the combination of mechanical and pyrolysis for recycling plastic. It is because the combination of mechanical and pyrolysis is the most environmentally friendly approach based on the studies that they conducted LCA analysis because dumping plastic to the landfills and also incineration of the plastic are not environmentally friendly based on LCA analysis. Also, uh, this combination minimize the dump of plastic to the landfill. And in the SWANA, we have a big concern about the lifetime of landfills. Also, this combination is very effective for recycling many type of plastic. As you can see in this figure, the combination of mechanical and pyrolysis uh, can be used for all types of plastic other than PVC. And finally, the pre-treatment for physical recycling improve the efficiency of chemical recycling plant. In this slide, you can see the mass balance for 1 kilogram plastic. We did this calculation based on some studies and also the composition of waste in the SWANA. As you can see, from 1 kilogram that we put in the uh, collection system, most part of that will be recycled. Around 20% of that will be converted to fuel, and only 11% of that will be dumped in landfill. The combination of mechanical and chemical method will be more expensive for establishing. So we allocate $5 million for establishing this plant. The objective number three is to solve social concern about waste to energy plant. Waste to energy plant in SWANA is designed to meet EPA regulation and it has a scrubber, fabric filter, and a stack. So it is expected to meet the EPA regulation. For solving this problem, we need to measure the concentration of contaminants in the gas and also in the nearby area. If it meets EPA regulation, we need to announce people that it can meet EPA regulation. Also, we should keep monitoring and let people know that continuously it uh, works well and meets all standards. But if there is a problem and the concentrations are higher, we need to do technical evaluation. If there is a problem and the concentration is high, it can be because of malfunctioning of pollution control equipment or incomplete combustion, overloading, poor waste composition, or stack height. So we mentioned the main reasons, and if there is a problem, it should be solved. Also, we allocated some money to solve the problem if there is a problem.
While completely stopping the use of plastics may not be feasible at the moment, a significant reduction on the environmental footprint is possible. if the community is well informed, educated to the transition from the use of plastics to some other alternatives. There is a saying that you cannot clap with only one hand. The same is true here. Introducing only this technological intervention will not solve the problem of the plastic waste management in the SWANA state. Well, community-based programs should primarily be targeted on the reduction of these plastic film bags that account for more than 41% of the total plastic waste in SWANA. These plastics are used, for instance, for a maximum of only 10 minutes, but take centuries to decay in the landfills. Therefore, the residents should take responsibility for monitoring and reintroducing these single-use plastics into the circular system by introducing importance of the plastic waste literacy. Some of the initiatives to encourage these 3 Rs, the reduce, reuse, and recycle, are one, it's through education and outreach. This can be done through one, the use of social media platforms by collaborating with influential YouTubers, TikTokers, and TV channels so that they can disseminate the short videos that highlight the consequence of the plastic waste and benefits of waste management. Second one is by introducing plastic waste reduction in school curriculums. For instance, in the United States of America, the Department of Environmental Protection should conduct educational sessions in selected schools twice a year or 3 times a year. For instance, the city of Doughton in the state of SWANA exhibits low waste disposal rates, but higher recycling contamination rates, with very low product participation in the recycling initiatives. Such kind of sessions is very important in this city so that the knowledge of the people could be increased. The third one is organizing workshops, seminars with incentives. Well, this should be targeted mainly to the low-income community, especially in rural areas, to train them and then promote the low contamination recycling practices. Once they start to practice it, sharing tips on the posters might also help. The second point basically talks on the use of incentives for participating in recycling. Well, those who violate the notice on recycling posters will never get any incentive at all. However, those who carefully dispose wastes can be rewarded, such as gift cards. This might create competition among the communities on who recycle most. The third point focuses on tourists. Although tourists are a source of income for a city or a nation, they also contribute to plastic wastes. For instance, the Majora beach in the state of SWANA has the highest waste generation, which is driven by tourists as per the report. Therefore, the street awareness campaigns, such as use of posters in the city, which shows zero tolerance for the plastic waste, is necessary. Okay, the fourth point focuses on product transformation from recycling. Well, informing the community on the performance of the recycling companies with positive feedback can inspire the people to participate more. Well, the products from recycled materials can encourage the growth of this circular economy. All right, now let's talk about the mandates and policies for the governor of the state of SWANA. Well, after the careful analysis and consideration of this three-dimensional sustainability, considering the economy, environment, and social, the following are the proposed approach to tackle this plastic waste management in the state of SWANA. The first one is to introduce fines for the non-compliance by institution. We did this approach because most of the wastes, as per the study, are generated from industries or commercial. So these fines can create opportunity to subsidize residents' recycling fees as a compensation of these commercial enterprises. We are following this polluter pays principle approach. The second one is the phased banning of some single-use plastics. We can't implement this banning of single-use plastics all at once, since the consumption rate as well as the waste generation of these plastics is very high at the moment. Therefore, we plan to do it phase-wise on banning them as shown in this table. Well, by 2015 some amount, by 2030 the remaining. The third point is on the implementation of this post-consumerism or the PCR standards and incentives. Well, a minimum PCR standard is required to ensure adoption of the good recycled plastics by the industries. Well, we propose one phase-by-phase PCR implementation at a certain percentage, and second one we also propose tax incentives and disincentives to companies which use this PCR. Well, we discussed this in detail in the report on how it should be handled. The fourth point is basically on mandates on extended producer responsibility or the EPR. Well, we propose the establishment of these producer responsibility organizations, which is known as the PRO, for a successful implementation of the proposed plans and to transition to a sustainable, economic, and socially viable plastic waste management programs, where these are the lists of the key tasks assigned to the PRO. The last point as part of the mandates and policies is the collaboration of these commercials or industries or institutions with the government of the state of SWANA, where the government as a player alongside with the collectors and recyclers in a tri-party evolutionary game model for a successful plastic waste recycling. For instance, the grocery stores can use these refill stations for drinks, detergents, snacks, and schools and parks can set up refill stations for drinking water.
Our design will have some impacts. I start with environmental impact. With sending less plastic to the incineration and the landfill, we expect the lifespan of the landfill could increase up to 25%. Also, we uh, calculated that carbon emission from plastic can be decreased up to 46%. Also, plastic contain a wide range of macro pollutants and emerging contaminants such as PFAS, microplastic, and plasticizer that they can end up to the landfill leachate and eventually environment. Our design decrease the emission of emerging contaminants to the environment. For example, we will have 89% less PFAS in landfill leachate from plastic each year by our design. Also, our design will have some direct and indirect benefits that in overall can benefit $860 million per year. That you can see the details in this slide. Other than economic and environmental uh, impact, or design provides some jobs. It solves the concern of public about air pollution, and also it provides environmental justice. So it is uh, sustainable in a social way. So with providing economic, social, and environmental consideration, we can say our design was sustainable.
So, in order to achieve success of our interventions, we strategically deployed the funds that have been allocated to the task force. We allocated about 6.6 million to the technological interventions, followed by 950,000 to the social interventions, and lastly about 400,000 to the policy interventions. And we show a detailed allocation in our report. This is followed by a roadmap that allows us to implement the different interventions in different phases, starting off in 2023 when the task force starts its role by establishing the producer responsibility organization. In 2024, most of the work is focused on alleviating the challenges of the waste to energy plant, especially the air pollution, doing some community and education outreach, followed by expanding the rural waste service centers. By 2025, we have commissioned the recycling plant, and in 2030, we implement the banning of all single-use plastic bags. And by 2033, we conclude the 10-year roadmap to achieving circular management of plastic in SWANA state. In conclusion, in order to achieve a complete circular economy for plastics in SWANA, we require less disposal, advanced technologies in recycling to generate new recyclables that will be reused by the residents in SWANA. But this cannot be achieved without the role of the most important stakeholders, the residents, the manufacturers, and the government. We show some of the references we have used to carry out our study and to develop comprehensive solutions to SWANA's plastic management problem. Thank you so much. This is the end of our presentation from Team Seminole Inc.